off, otherwise I'll get really bad reverb. Okay. So, oh, I'm sorry, we're live. Everybody, I am double checking the YouTube. I want to make sure that I don't get really bad reverb going on. But okay, as you can see, Sophia is joining me tonight. So thank you so much, Sophia.
Everybody.
And oh, yeah, so far it looks like it's just the two of us, and that's okay. It's a Sunday night, last minute, but hopefully people will join in and listen. Because as you guys know, I've been holding on to some information for quite some time. And I finally just said, forget it. I put a poll out, and granted, only 8 people responded. But okay. So, 6 out of the 8 said they wanted everything put out there. 2 said to hold on. So majority wins. And it's like, okay, let's just do this. I mean, nobody's doing anything anymore. I haven't for a while. Greg hasn't for a while. Dan hasn't touched the case in over 4 years. He's done squat, nothing, nada, zero for over 4 years. And people in the group, even though they will oftentimes, some will discuss things on the page, and then there's the faithful few that come here to my videos and make comments, but there's nobody doing anything. So I'm like, all right, the cops don't care. It doesn't seem like any. And when I say nobody cares, I'm not talking about us. I'm talking about, the legal system, but nobody cares. So, and since a lot of this information is actually in the case files that they sent, I'm not so sure it would be considered new evidence anyway, but since it's there, it's like, all right, let's point out the things that Apple Valley conveniently decided to push aside and under the rug. Oh, geez. But again, oh, sorry, my eyes are really bad today. I have really bad double vision. So we'll do our best to get through this. Okie dokie. Oh, yeah, I have to share the screen first. God, the blonde roots show every time. Okay. We are going to start this thing. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. And let's do, should I do? Okay, I'll start with this. And if at any time, Sophia, you don't see what I'm talking about, please say something and I'll go back and do the share screen in a different manner.
Okay.
But, okay.
There we go.
Okay, so here we are. And yeah, usually if I do the slideshow, for some reason, I haven't quite figured out how to do it and then have it show up so you guys can see it. So I'm not going to bother with this tonight. What we do know is that the truth is in the evidence, and the truth has always been buried. With everything we now know to be factual, how can the AVPD continue their charade? We're going to begin with the lies. David was angry. David was jealous. David snapped. David was depressed. The Crowleys were struggling financially. All lies. And these are just a few. There are so many more.
Mm-hmm.
And how the truth became lies. Without the evidence to back up opinions, the nation went after David Crowley's reputation. The lies told about David and his character are now known to be utter fabrication. Does any of this matter? To the world at large, no. To those who are seeking to understand, yes. Now, here's what I haven't been sharing with you guys. This is what was found within the evidence files that we have received from Apple Valley PD. The first thing that we have never mentioned, because they never mentioned, is a bore patch. A bore patch was found inside the gun. This is not mentioned in any of the official final reports, and I will show you where we have located that. Now, I'm going to wait and see if this is going to pop up on the screen or if I need to share my entire screen. Okay, it looks like I need to go in and change my sharing options. So I'm going to do the whole screen and hopefully it won't mess up.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to give it a second here to make sure it's going to show. And there it is. Okay, I'm going to zoom in.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask.
Okay. And this is actually, if you look up here, it's page 165 of 488, but it actually also begins on page 163. So let's go to page 163. As you will see, this is the report on examination of physical evidence. Now, this report was included in the final report given to Apple Valley from the BCA. And you will see here that they titled this report number 0. Oh, hold on, let me get. So this is kind of like the one that they're working on, and they're putting it together, before they do all the revisions. And the final revision is the one that they give to the police department. So this is the very first one they're putting together.
This is from the BCA large file, not the DNA results file. I mean, DNA results are in this one, but this is the huge file that Greg and I had gotten several years ago after I put a FOIA in.
Correct.
So,
and as you can see, it's like she was saying, for the 488-page document. And this is starting on page 163. And if you look here, it's written here, item 1D, classified as bore patch from item 1. Let's go down to, and as you can see, this is their draft report. Now here we're going to go down to their firearm worksheet. We'll come back to that in a moment. But as you see, where does it say bore patch here? Oh, my eyes. Okay, or maybe this is the blood. There is one of these papers that it must be. Okay, I thought I had everything ready. But we know here. Oh, let me show you here. This is from the property and evidence report, page 33 from Apple Valley. And you see here, they have it listed as well. 1 manila envelope containing evidence classified as a bore patch from item 1. And this is one of their final reports. And we'll just show you that it never shows up anywhere else ever again. So somewhere along the line, they decided, and it's not here either. They have 1 ABC, but it's D. It goes from 1C to 2. As you can tell, it's not included in there either. But
I think I'm going to go through the emails exchange that is in that huge file and see if they talked about removing that. Because they do have discussions about what to remove and what to keep and what to test and everything. And it would be very interesting to see if they mention removal of that item.
Yeah, and now that you mention it, at the very, very beginning of this 488-page report, I'll see if I can get there, and then I'll show you that it is also included. Let me share the screen here. That they show it included on this as well. I'm getting to the share screen part. And this is the evidence logs, I believe. Let me go back to the very beginning. The evidence chain of custody report. As you can see here, so the case number, the lab case number, And we go down, there's item 1, and keep going, keep going. And it's listed here as well. So they have it in evidence. 1D, 1 manila envelope containing a bore patch from item 1. So clearly, they had this. They knew they had this. Now, I'm going to ask a lot of you people to ask you if you know what a bore patch is and what it's used for and where you think they found it. Oh, hi, Alita. Thank you for joining us. Thank you so much. Hopefully you'll find this very, very interesting. Okay, now a bore patch is a small piece of either material or cotton, and I believe I read somewhere in the reports, but I couldn't find it. But you do see it's there, that this was a cotton, made out of cotton. It's a piece of, material or cotton that they used to clean the barrel of the gun. And it was still inside the gun. Now, do any of you think for one moment that David would leave a bore patch in his gun?
Nope. I don't think so.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I mean, someone who was meticulous about their cleaning and of their weapons and taking care of their weapons, there's no way he would have left that bore patch inside of the weapon. Now we're going to have a scenario. We're going to come up with a possible scenario by the time we're done. But that's one of the items. So please keep that in mind. Now we're going to continue. Let me get the windows here. And so we now know and have seen that there was a bore patch found within the weapon. Now the firing pin aperture. Refer to page 165 of 488 pages. Were you saying something? I'm sorry. Okay.
My daughter's gaming.
Oh, okay. And we'll take care of both the firing pin aperture and the breech face in this discussion right here, because I have breech face over here on this side. Now it states on page 165 of the 488 report, it states swab some blood-like substance from frame, breech face, firing pin aperture, etc., etc. So now we need to go and look in the reports, because I want you guys all to see this with your own two eyes. Where it says that they had this in their stuff. Now I need to, let me find it first before I switch the pages. There it is. Okay. I'm going to share the screen so you can see it. Okay. Now, by the time you get done with all this, it's going to make a lot more sense, and you're going to probably figure out and put it all together what truly happened, at least with this weapon, and that had nothing to do with David. As you see here, it says trace apparent rust-like material, apparent blood-like substance. And then down below, in their notes, it says they swabbed some blood-like substance from the frame, the breech face, the firing pin aperture, etc., with an acetone swab. Now, this is not the only place they talk about this within these handwritten notes. However, you won't find it anywhere on any of the documents. You don't find it numbered. You don't find it labeled. You find nothing. So now we have a bore patch, and now they're finding blood. First, remember, they found David's blood on the magazine, loaded inside the gun. Now there's a blood-like substance on the breech face and the aperture, the firing pin aperture.
And it's important to remind people that David did not have any cuts on his hands at the time of death from what the autopsy report states. So we don't know how his blood got on the magazine that was located inside the gun. And we don't know how his blood got inside the gun on these other items. So,
And even though this blood, apparent blood like, was not tested, if you're going, this is what I was explaining to Sophia. Well, it's safe to say that if it was David's blood on the magazine, David's blood, then it was probably David's blood also on the breech face and on the firing pin aperture. Now, just to show you guys where the breech face is on a gun, in case you don't know, let me show you. Sorry about all the going back and forth, but it's about the only way I can think of doing this. Okay, here we go. This is inside the gun. This is part of the gun as it's taken apart. This area right here, let me click on it. This area right here is the breech face. And this would be inside, close to where I think the chamber and the barrel is. Let me see if there's another good example. I did have another picture, and when I logged out, I closed it and then I couldn't find it.
Go down a little bit. Right over on the, I guess, your left side?
Over here?
Oh, no, the other side. Go the opposite direction. There you go. Is that it?
That is another picture of a breech face, and as you can tell, this is inside the gun. Like, it's inside, deep inside the gun. This is not something or someplace where somebody can touch, or if you shoot somebody or you shoot yourself, it's going to end up here. No, it doesn't. Okay, that's probably like going to be the best picture like I said earlier, I had a really good photo, but that's okay. This one's good too. This one that we were showing you is good too. Again, this is as the weapon. This is a weapon that is taken apart, and they're showing you this part of the gun, which is inside. And here you go. It's right there. And then the firing pin aperture is close to that area as well, inside the weapon. You can't accidentally get blood. So this, to me, again, if we're following, Occam's razor, the simplest answer is usually the correct one. It leads me to think that David was cleaning his weapon. It was taken apart. It was lying on the table. He was cleaning the barrel. Something happened to distract them, walked away, and then all hell broke loose. And then whoever did the murders needed to use David's gun to make it look like a murder-suicide, then had his blood, David's blood, on his hands, or their hands, or her hands, we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And then we picked up those pieces and was putting it back together, and in the process transferred the blood from whatever they had or were touching. Maybe they had gloves, picked something up and then laid the gloves down and then go, oops, we need a clean pair. I don't know. But then it's the only thing that makes sense. So it was whoever put his gun back together is the one who got the blood on the firing pin aperture, the breech face, and the magazine. But it wasn't David, as well as leaving a bore patch inside. David would never do that. Never. So there we go on those.
You know that there is an unfired cartridge on the living room rug that was taken into custody, wasn't DNA tested. And the thing is when you go to clear the type of gun that David's gun was, You do not need to take the magazine out to clear it. This is a misnomer that somebody a while ago had said, and it's untrue. You
You rack the slide. Yeah.
Yeah, you rack the slide to clear the gun.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't take the magazine out. David would have known this. Anybody who's seen on those guns would have known it.
Yeah, that's crazy. You know, the things some people will say, that's absolute insanity. Yeah, no. And it's easy for a gun to jam when there's a bore patch in there because it's not firing correctly. So again, all of these things now are making sense. Why that had to be ejected, you know, something got stuck, it wasn't going through, wasn't working right, got stuck, they had ejected it. And then when I spoke with someone at a gun shop and I asked them about what would happen to the gun if a bore patch was left inside and then a person fires it, they said, well, you know, depending on how thick and how big, and we don't know. All we know is they found one. But they said if it's just a thin piece of material, it would just tear the material apart. If it's a little thicker piece of cotton, which I'm almost positive the report stated it was cotton, he said it could probably jam it a little, but then after that, it would fire okay, which is what appears to have happened in this case. Hold on a second. It's starting to go dark here. Sun's going down. So let me go turn on my lights. Oh gosh, this is crazy. Okay, you talk, Sophie. I'll be right back.
Oh, way to put me on the front here. So what we do know is that even though they took swabs of the blood that was inside the gun on the breech face and the firing pin, none of those swabs were DNA tested. They weren't even listed for as swabs being taken. So as of this time, we don't know exactly whose blood it is, but because David's blood was on the inside of the magazine that was inside the gun, we are making the assumption that the rest of the blood that was found could be David's. I was just saying that because they hadn't DNA tested the blood that was found on the inside of the gun, on the breech face and the firing pin. We're assuming that it could be David's, but I mean, we can't quite.
Yeah, it's what makes sense. Hi, Jenny.
Hello, Jenny.
So it absolutely makes sense. So let me, okay, I'll go back to sharing. Going back and forth and back and forth. Okay. Now here we are. Now we have talked about, you know, we did a long video on the autolysis. But we're bringing it all together. We're just showing it all. Now we know that the autolysis on the autopsies, it states David had marked autolysis. And again, this is in the autopsy reports. All you have to do is go pull it up and you can read it. And we know that marked goes to 50 to 75% of the cell nuclei have now they autolysized, or they've kind of, the enzymes have kind of eaten themselves and destroyed themselves, up to 75% of those. Now, Kamel and Rania only states that it was autolysis, not marked. David was the only one that said marked. And now autolysis itself is anywhere from 20 to 50%, 25 to 50%. So that means David died first. There is no other explanation. There is nothing to say that he did this and then killed himself. This is absolute solid medical proof. In the story, nail in the coffin, everything, he died first. So if he died first, he could not have killed his wife and daughter.
Correct.
And then, yeah, and now, and the other one is, where's the blood? David's and Rania's blood is missing from the scene. The only place where David's blood was found was on the magazine. And now we do know, and we saw in the reports, that they found blood on the breech face and then on the firing pin aperture. Ranya's blood, gone. There's nowhere there. Nowhere. Yet they find her DNA, but she lived in the house, okay? But there's no DNA, no blood, no hair, no tissue on the bullet, that number 53, that had her DNA on it. And again, to reiterate, item number 53 was the bullet that was found the next day by the cleaning crew when they were rolling up the rug. So this bullet was rolling over the rug and through the rug, and whatever it rolled across, it's going to pick up its DNA, because they found such a small amount on it. It was minute amount of DNA, and it looked very shiny and clean. When you compare that bullet with the bullets that it's clear that they went through Kamel's head. And I'm doing quotes for a reason. You will soon find out. Those clearly went through head. But the one for Rania, it's not. But yet, it was found rolling out and onto the floor. So there's no blood from David, no blood from Rania, and the only blood in the house belonged to Kamel. There's a huge problem with that. Go ahead.
The blood spatter, which is it's low velocity and medium velocity. There is no high velocity gun spatter or gunshot blood spatter located in that house. If you look in all of the photos, you will not see it. It is all medium and low. And it looks extremely staged.
Yeah, exactly. And we have done multiple videos on this. I've done videos on this from way back, and Sophia and I have done several videos about this very same thing. There are 4 gunshot wounds to 3 heads and absolutely zero high velocity blood spatter in that house anywhere. None. And the coup de grace, you guys are gonna, I shouldn't say you're gonna love this. This is gonna kind of shock you a bit. It shocked us.
Yeah.
When I saw this and I brought it to Sophia, I was like, oh no, what did we just come across? I'm going to ask you guys, because I'm going to show probably one photo, but the others, please go to the group page and look under the files. Or is it at Greg's? I don't think they have them on the page, right? You have to go to Greg's site.
Let me see here.
I think you do. If you go to Greg's website, which I will post a link down below when we're done, you can find the few autopsy photos that were given to us by somebody else. The tattoos don't match, people. I'm not sure it's even them. Okay, I've said it. This is what Sophie and I have been living with for almost a year. I'm not sure it's them. Not anymore. Their bodies on that floor. Somebody died. But we'll talk about that in just a moment.
Yeah, I was going to look at give them the link at least.
Okay. So there we have it, people. And there are other things, but I couldn't remember what they were, and I haven't had a chance to add them in this today. So if I find, what I did when I would find this information within these files, I wrote to certain people and I said, here, keep this. If something happens, give this to so. And then I deleted everything, got rid of all proof of communications. Well, I mean, unless somebody came in with, spyware or whatever and checked my system, because I haven't cleaned my system, they could probably find it. But for me, I couldn't remember who I sent it to. So I don't know who I mailed it to and what the information was. And they were only supposed to release something if something happened to me. So since I'm here and everything's fine, I'm like, oh, great. Okay. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Ta-da! That would be me. I do stuff like this. But anyway, I will go over this because the tattoos is what's going to make you drop your jaw. But let's just finish out this little PowerPoint thing with a quote from Booker T. Washington. This I felt was so perfect. And I love this little puzzle pieces here on this thing because we have putting this together piece by piece by piece. Yet we don't have all of them, but it's like a jigsaw puzzle. And Booker T. Washington stated, a lie doesn't become truth. Wrong doesn't become right. And evil doesn't become good just because it's accepted by the majority. And that's how I feel where we're at with this case. So many people, the majority, I guess, is what you want to say, have just took off and run with David's guilty. He did it. All because the Apple Valley Police Department decided that they were just going to say, we don't want to do this. We're going to be lazy. Or they were in on the family going in under protective custody. But I don't know. Are the police generally involved in that? I don't know. I don't know how protective custody works. But clearly they're complicit. They not only are they complicit, but they started the lies. They continue the lies. And within their reports, hidden. Now you have to go and find and read every single page. You find these tidbits, these little gems, which prove that the official narrative is not only wrong, it was a deliberate lie, it was a deliberate misleading, and now I want to know why.
I did put the link to Greg's website in the chat. The information in regards to the tattoos is under Tony Floyd's Endgame. And Greg had copied the entire site and had put it in a WordPress. And the pictures of the tattoos that were Tony Floyd had received from the ME are in that document. And you can try to match them up to the tattoos that are known of David and Kamel's. We don't have all of them. In fact, we don't even have all the photos from the ME either, because they supposedly had more tattoos than what was shown. And especially the one on Kamel, if you go to her IG, and then
I'm going to bring that one up, and okay. I am going to bring that one up. The one that when I sent you and you then condensed the two ones, and this will be coming in just a minute, people, you will see it. Okay. And then I also, what I did for David's arm tattoo is I got it from the same angle and same size. And I traced it. Put my paper on there and I traced it. And then I took it and I traced it. The other one, traced it again. And then I took it and I traced the one on top of the other on the paper. And you'll see, I'll show you on the paper.
Okay.
They don't match.
Yeah, they don't. They're very similar, but they don't match.
Yeah, with David's, it was pretty close because at the very top, you can get it to line up perfectly. But when you get toward the bottom, it's like off by this much. They don't match. And it's a gradual. Anyway, we'll see that in just a moment. Thank you, Pauline, though. Thank you. And I'm going to get caught up on everybody here. Jenny says, it has always made sense to me that they would have taken him out first. Yeah, David in this scene. And I'm going to put David in quotes because right now I am not convinced this is that family on the floor. There are dead people in that house. And keep in mind that everything that would be an identifier is gone. The face and the hands are gone of all the victims.
And they
Well,
took DNA directly from the bodies. They didn't take it from the hairbrushes, the toothbrushes. They took it directly from the bodies. So, I mean, of
yeah,
course it was matched up with the crime scene.
exactly. And Jenny says, I know in my heart this story didn't play out like the official account says. I'm so grateful there are people still telling the true story, the facts. And here's the Greg's website. So you can go and find the photos that she was just telling you about of the autopsy. It's under the Tony Floyd's Endgame on Greg's website. Thank you so much, Sophia, for doing this.
And it's located near the bottom of that website. So you just have to scroll down and you can download that file and all the information's in there.
So give me just a moment to find oh, there it is. Let me do David's first, and then we'll do Kamal's. So let me share the screen. Please be patient.
Sorry, they were supposed to be in bed.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. Now I'm going to see which one is showing first. Okay. Yeah, this one. Now this isn't me. It's ME for the medical examiner. This is the photo I took off of David's arm on a photo that they had with the same exact tattoo. And when I blew it up, these were the measurements that I came up with. And from the ME's photograph, this is what it came up with. Now, let me see if it will go ahead and tick to the next picture. I don't know if it will or not. Oh, it did. Yay. Okay, cool. Here we go. Here's I outlined the David's tattoo, and I'm not sure why it's not showing up very well, but you see the design. And then here it is from the ME's office. And these are the areas that I measured from there to there. So I measured the same spot on both tattoo photographs and came up with the calculations. And then this one, let me see. I think I have a better one. Yeah. Make sure that it's going to, it's going to catch up in just a moment. Okay. So here in red is the tattoo from the photograph from David's tattoo. And in the pencil is where I started marking the differences on how the tattoo was different. As you see at the very beginning, it was exactly the same. And then all of a sudden, when you start to see these pencil marks, let me see if I can get closer. In red was the original tattoo from David's pictures from when he was alive. This pencil mark here, as you see, it comes way in. The red is the tattoo originally. This is from the ME's office. Here's the design from the ME. And then here it is, the original tattoo. You can see where it's really different. And how it comes way out here. And then this is the original here where this part, again, when you see the red, that's the original. The pencil line is the ME from the autopsy. You can see how close it is, but it is so different. It would be just enough to keep somebody from questioning it unless you measure it and look at it. Now, let me, and so you can see better here. In red, the original, in pencil from the ME's office, the ME photo. Even the hook isn't the same. How this hook kind of is open and wide, and his original tattoo was quite narrow and sharp, a sharp point. Close, but not good enough. Those were different tattoos, and let me see if this one will pop up now. Hold on. I don't know if it will pop up for you guys. I'm sorry, I have to. Okay, it does. Here's Kamal. This is what I want you guys to see. It's not her tattoo. This is when she was alive. You see how the tattoo comes around her waist and ends here in this kind of like a long bar and a swoosh? This is the tattoo from the body in the ME's office. It doesn't match, folks. It's not the same tattoo. Nothing about this is the same.
If I send you something to your messenger, would you show it on here?
Hold on, let me stop sharing my screen real quick. Oh, I guess it stopped sharing.
The one that you had done the Trixie's to, it's pretty significant. You know, you can tell the differences just looking at it. It's similar, so that people can actually see that tattoo also.
I don't know if I don't have access to the can you send it to my email? Yeah, let's try email. Maybe it'll come through on my email.
The A one?
My regular email. Either one. Just try either one.
Okay. I'll send it to them.
Okay, so this is why I'm saying I'm not even convinced it's them on the floor anymore. I don't know what to think. As you saw, Kamel's tattoo didn't match Kamel when she was alive. David's tattoo doesn't match. It's very similar. And I was working on the ones on the back, but there just isn't enough good photographs. If I had good pictures of the tattoos he had on while he was alive, I would be able to probably better match it up. But yeah, okay, yeah, that one. Okay, got it. So let me open that.
There's two really significant differences.
Yeah.
We can point out immediately to people. It's not just you put a lot of time into measuring and the tracing, but just being able to see the tattoo next to the one that when David was alive, you can tell the significance.
Correct. Yeah, and I'm glad you had that because those were the two that I actually used to do the measurements. Hold on, I am saving this photo. So there we go. Okay. Now let me share my screen again.
And we had to do a lot of digging just to get pictures of these tattoos.
Yeah. I mean, this was a lot of work, people. I cannot tell you how much work we have put into this, but this is what caught my eye, and then Sophia just jumped right in. I'm telling you, I don't know what I would do without her. But this is what I'm trying to tell you. See how this is almost identical? This is the ME's photo. This is the photo from while he was alive.
You get to that little squiggly sign that looks right there,
Yeah.
right there.
This is yeah, and this was what I was trying to point out, but this is much better when I was showing you the outlining that I did. This is completely different. Completely different. This comes way in. Do you see how long this line is? This is short. This is narrow. This is long. And yet, even here, this whole entire section is different than that. This is narrow. This is wide. Comes down. Yeah. And how wide that is. And then this is a very sharp and comes to a sharp point. And nobody's talking.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, when I initially saw these photos, I didn't think twice about it. And it wasn't until you had brought it to my attention, and I'm just like, well, you know, I don't even know what all their tattoos look like. And they had a lot more. It's just you don't see photos of them. I had to dig on Instagram. I had to look through all the photos that we had, including the ones in the journal. And for David, I even went to his YouTube videos, like Hothead Production, Bullet Exchange, and watched all those, because there are some action videos where they're doing Taekwondo or whatever it is. And you can see some of David's tattoos. So then you had to pause it and take that screenshot and then match it to the ones that the MEs did decide to provide photos of. Because the ME didn't take photos or provide photos for all of the tattoos. So, like the arm one, we don't have, for Kamel's wrist, we don't have that one.
Yeah. And you know what led me down this rabbit hole? And Sophia was the one who dug up all these photos, I will tell you. And why she did, what led me down this rabbit hole was the tattoo of the spade and the skull on David's arm. And then I saw it in the ME's office. Now, again, mind you, as the body decomposes, things bloat, it's going to, distort to some extent. But that's what caught my eye. And I sent an email right away to both Sophia and what was her name? Oh my goodness, I forgot her name. The young lady who worked at the mortuary. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. Sarah, thank you. Oh, I'm so sorry, Sarah. If you watch this, I'm so sorry. I sent it to them and I'm like, oh, guys, we have a problem here. I'm not sure this is them. This tattoo doesn't match. Well, then Sophia, and then I'm like going, we need to compare Kamel's, but I don't have a picture of her when she was alive. So Sophia remembered, she goes, oh, I know where to find one. And then comparing, and I'm telling, that's different as night and day. That's not even the same tattoo. You can't even pretend it's the same tattoo. So if it's not the same tattoo,
I didn't realize that it was for
her side. Her side coming across her side. It's not the same. So David's don't match. That's why I'm going David and Kamel. This is why we're so silent and so quiet. We don't know what to think anymore. Is this family under protection? Did they decide? I mean, they could not have access to 3 bodies, right? That would be similar to who they were, and get rid of the faces and the hands and then stage this entire thing. They couldn't do that. Somebody else was involved in this. Who, why, what's it about? And why not do a better job?
Yeah. I guess maybe they didn't expect us to get as much information as we did.
Yeah. And to me, now it makes sense why the Apple Valley Police Department got the city attorney involved. And why the city attorney said, okay, no, we're not getting anything out because this is a murder investigation and they can always bring other people. And it was just all a lie because they adjudicated this case. They closed this case. And with closed murder cases, it's available. The information is available to be given out, but they shut down giving anything out. The moment we started pointing out the inconsistencies, the things that were wrong, how the crime scene didn't add up, and we started getting people interviewing professionals who in forensics or in psychology or a police officer. And, I started talking to, MEs, all of a sudden, oh, we're not giving you guys any more information. Jenny says, I think it was bigger than their friends. This was taken care of at a higher level. The people who knew them were compliant. Yes, I agree. Wholeheartedly. And so,
and that's when people start to talk about, oh, we think such and such did it or whatever. It's like, I'm not going to point fingers because, I think this was much bigger than that. They could have been on it, but I think it was much bigger than that. It had to have been for the bodies to be there, for the lack of DNA and blood, just all of it. The fact that David died first was the biggest piece of information. Now, we knew that the tattoos did not match before we knew that David died first.
Mm-hmm.
So, or whoever that body that they're claiming is David, he died first. So I know it's confusing, folks. I'm sorry.
And it really is. And that also now makes sense why the weight was so different with David. And, all of these things now make sense. Um, the whole gun, wherever, whatever David and Kamel were doing, their life was disrupted and quickly, and they were removed from the house. Whatever happened in there after that, it's anyone's guess. I don't know. But we do know Kamel's tattoos don't match at all. It's not even the same. It's not the same. So it can't be her. It can't be her. Now we have a couple scenarios here. They could explain David's away a little bit. I think they could and probably get away with it. So either this is a family that is under, what do they call that? Protective custody, or what's the other word where they get new identities? I can't think of that word. Sorry, brain fog. Or if David and Rania truly were killed and Kamel was replaced. And that's why the body of Kamel was so mutilated.
Yeah.
So is Kamel still alive, but David and Rania dead? Those are the two options here, folks. But I will tell you right now, what I know from what I've seen, they're not all three dead. And that's not them on that floor. So, and David did not, and all along, again, this just clears David over and over and over again. David would not leave a bore patch in his gun. How did blood get on the breech face? How did blood get on the firing pin aperture? How did blood get on the magazine loaded inside of a gun? None of this makes sense. Jenny says there were never any actual answers to questions. I've been watching you all for years, and I agree with the fact-based evidence you all have found. I followed David before he died and was a fan. That's really good. I wish I knew who he was. Honestly, I never heard of this guy until I joined up with this group.
The only time that I heard of him was when they found the bodies, and it was like the first 2 days after they found the bodies, there was like little media blitz. It was on Breitbart and stuff. And then, I was like, oh, another one. Because this was during the time when holistic doctors and
we're all being found. Yeah, dying.
Was in nutritionists and stuff were being found dead. And I know a lot of people think that it's a conspiracy, but the Clinton side kind of thing. But it was all during that time frame of when this was all going on. And I just chalked it up to that. And then it just left the media until the documentary came out. And it's not even a documentary. It's just based on fallacies, it's laughable.
It is.
It's laughable because they're talking about how bad David looked at the end. Well, if you go to the journal and you look at their photos, they look healthy as horses. So
he was working out, eating right. He said he was eating good, healthy foods and was working out every day. So yeah, they were very healthy.
And I just, a lot of their stuff, if we hadn't got the journal, if we hadn't got the BCA paperwork, and then if we hadn't gotten Tony Floyd's information that he put on that website, we would not have been able to put these pieces together.
Mm-mm.
If we had only stuck with the redacted information that the police were sending out, we would have never come to these conclusions and shown fact-based evidence to all of you. Now we know they aren't going to open this case up. They don't want to open this case
No.
up. And we know that they are trying to make David's movie, that they are in the process of trying to make it right now.
Which is disgusting, if you ask
It
me.
is.
I'm going to
It
get
is.
caught up on these real quick. Jenny said, you know, the whole thing doesn't make sense. And then, hello, Crypt Rick. You know, I'm not ignoring you. I swear I'm not. And he says, Catherine, we've been through this paleo with the blood on the gun clip. Right? It was paleo. Paleo did it. He put the gun together.
He even put the in the attic, you know.
Yeah. And then she says, I had forgotten who he was and then saw a Netflix film and I knew it was a weird point of perspective. It made me question what they were saying. That's what got me into this. And what
Yeah.
got, you know, if they had never done that documentary, I mean, think about this. The dominoes would not have fallen the way they did. I wouldn't even have thought twice about this case. I mean, yes, Richie from Boston got me to look into it, but it was the fact that I watched that documentary that made me then search for the Facebook group. If that was on there, I would have let it go. I would have just thought, okay, whatever. Mohawk equals crazy.
When I watched that documentary, I knew I was being lied to.
Yes.
And it was that feeling that you were being condescended to and lied to. And I was like, oh, no, I want to know what the truth is now. And I never had that feeling before watching a documentary. But this one, all the bells and whistles were going off.
Yep. Okay. Crypt Rick, this is going to be a very brief rundown. You'll have to listen to the rest of the video, but here's going to be a super brief rundown of what I have exposed. That there was a bore patch found inside the gun, in the barrel of the gun. There was a blood-like substance found on the firing pin aperture and on the breech face. And we know about the autolysis David's being marked, being more advanced. And our same question of where's the blood? And then the coup de grace were the tattoo photos. We compared. I started down this when I saw one particular tattoo and I contacted Sophia and Sarah and I said, you guys, we have a problem. I'm not sure it's them. Sarah then stopped following the case. Bless her heart. She stayed quiet though. Let's face it, that girl, she knows how to keep a secret. She doesn't talk. And Sophia and I have been kind of going, what do we do now? What do we do now? So then Sophia went and started looking at a whole bunch of
everything. Looking at everything.
Pictures and everything and got a whole bunch. And so when you go through the video, I show the autopsy and compare them with the photos of real life, and it's not Kamel's tattoo. It's not even the same. It's not close. David's, a little bit, but it's still different enough to where you're like, okay, let's see. I remember RFB. I miss his. Yeah. I miss Richie from Boston on YouTube. I used to listen to him a lot. He got me through some really rough times, let me tell you. See, I'm a tattoo artist. So if I can help, let me know. Look at the pictures I shared and you are going to see. Oh, wait.
Yeah,
you know what?
Yeah. You want to show them again?
Yeah, I'm going to pull up this one. Hold on a second and let me share my screen. I keep forgetting. Yes, everybody, if anybody wants a tattoo and you're in Canada, look up Rick. He's an actual tattoo artist. Are you still there, Rick? You ready to look? Rick.
Go ahead and put it up. I think you're still there.
Okay. Let me get this real quick. Jenny says, yes, treated like common sense wasn't a real thing. People have forgotten, but I will never. David was doing so many good things and he was stopped before he could even make his mark. That is so true. Okay, Rick, here we go. You're gonna like this a lot. You'll like it a lot. Is that the same tattoo, Rick?
Can you enlarge it? Now this is her side. This tattoo from the ME that's on the right side is from her actual midriff side.
Yep.
It's not a knee or a thigh, which I thought it was for the longest time.
Yeah, this is the abdomen area. You can see where her corset was within, where the swelling and these are the corset lines. And then this is, her chest area, her waist, and then this is the side. Now, Rick, does that look like the same tattoo to you? Okay. And then let's see. Those are the measurements that I found. Wait, where's the other one? Here it is. Here it is. I found it.
And here's the other one. The most notable difference is the middle and the very bottom hook.
Yeah. Yep. Right here and right here, you can clearly tell it's not the same. In fact, this whole section is not the same, but then the bottom is not the same.
And
that's what we said. I'm sorry, go ahead.
As we explained earlier, the ME didn't share all of the tattoos, and I wasn't able to find every single, like a photo of every single tattoo that they had posted when they were live or in videos, things like that. I looked everywhere, and what I did find, we did match to what we had on hand.
Mm-hmm. And Rick, you ask, how much does the skin deform after death? If you know what I do. When it gets, now mind you, they're still in the early to moderate stages of decomposition. David is just getting to the point where he's starting to bloat. Same with Kamel. And it kind of expands, but it doesn't distort. You know what I mean? You won't find like this section of the arm will get bigger, this section will stay normal. Like on that tattoo, when I compared them on top of each other, it doesn't work like that. And with the Kamel, I mean, it's not even the same design on that one. It comes up and you saw it went straight across and then down. And then hers had a whole bunch of like curly Q type things. It's not distended enough to make that kind of difference in the way the tattoo was. Let me pull that up one more time so I can show you where, let me get, where is she? What did I do with her? Okay, hold on. I got to find her again. Let me find her. Okay, there she is. Okay, this is going to share in just a second. Okay, you see how this little section, it's just very small here. And you see how this is really big and comes with. That's not from distension of the abdomen. And look here, you see how, well, yes, somebody could say, well, that was added later. But none of that design is even the same. They tried to do something similar. Look at the design. It's not the same. So that little difference and that, nope. And then you see this design over here.
Right
this
there.
is like a simple S. Look at all of this squiggly lines over here. It's not a simple S. And then we have this, like a fancy E. It's, again, not the same tattoo. And then you have this one. They're trying to get really similar, but it just isn't the same. And then this one comes up and over, kind of almost like, what is it? Like a math sign, like the division sign type of thing. That's how I look at it. And when I'm comparing, and this is rounded. This is clearly squared off, sharp pointy edges, and this is rounded. So that is not due to the body distending at all. So, yeah. So that's where we're at, folks.
Yep.
And
not really something else to look at for this case. I mean, we're showing proof right here. And I mean, if some people want to, they can argue that that the tattoos are similar, and so therefore it is David and Kamel. But okay, but what about the autolysis and the marked autolysis for David? That still proves that he died, David died first. Right there. For me, that's case closed.
Mm-hmm.
And everything else is just icing on the cake at that point.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
We know that they're going to look at this case again.
I know.
Nobody's going to open it up. So there was no reason to hide any of this information anymore because we just knew that it was never going to be like that.
Yeah. And
I know
so
we've had some heart-to-heart discussions in regard to whether or not come forward with this information. And, there were times when I just wanted to cry because I was so frustrated with how this has been treated and how we have been treated in regards to this. We're treated like we're kooky liars, but we're showing the proof. So I don't know how that even washes out in the end.
Yeah. And I think back to the very beginning, it was like a year, maybe a year and a half when I was into this case. And it was before I really knew how to use the Proton email. In fact, this person, and I think they were law enforcement. I have no proof, but they had contacted me and they just kept saying, you need to check the metadata. You need to check the metadata. Go look at photo, blah, blah, blah. Tell me what you see. And then that's something else we haven't talked about for a long time. The metadata has been altered. You don't alter metadata, but yet the police department and the BCA altered their metadata. Why? And they were, I think they either added, what did they do? They I'm trying to remember, but they put it through Photoshop and they made changes. You don't do that to crime scene photos, even if it's changing light or anything like that. You don't do that. So from the very beginning, we had people, telling us there's a lot wrong with this case. And Rick says, what is needed to reopen the case? What are they saying is needed? Or it doesn't matter what you bring. Well, before Chief Wrightskull, whatever his name was, before he retired, he said he would never reopen it. And he didn't care what we brought. He didn't care what we had. Even if it was brand new evidence, didn't care, didn't matter. He's not reopening it. Period. This
and
new
anymore, right?
Right. He's retired, but I contacted the new police chief. No response. It's the same thing. I get no response from anybody out there anymore. They all ignore me like I'm, some, moldy tortilla in their refrigerator. Is it legal? No. And if we took it to court, if I went out there to court and took them and filed, a complaint within the, the Hennepin County Court District, I would win. I don't have that kind of money to go out there and stay in a hotel and file court cases and wait for it. And they know that. That's why they're doing this. They know that none of us who have found anything and who are really pushing this case, They know we're not going to go out there and do anything. Dan's not going to do a darn thing. Dan doesn't care. You know, everybody's like, oh yeah, Dan Hannon. Dan has always said from the beginning, his interest is not to solve the case. He just brought up a page and it's, if you think back, it's all of us who've been doing the work. He didn't do anything. He doesn't care. Not in the sense of he doesn't care that the family's deceased. That's not what I'm saying, because I think he does care about that. But he doesn't care if it gets pushed forward. We are the ones who've been pushing it to get forward, and we don't live in Minnesota. So there's nothing we can do about it. And they know that. They know our hands are tied unless we go out there. So.
And I have no desire to do that.
I don't trust them. I'll be honest with you. I don't trust them. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm originally from Minnesota. I was born and raised in Minneapolis. And this breaks my heart to know that a place that I came from is acting like this. This is what they would do. There's no way I'd go back. I wouldn't trust that I wouldn't end up in jail. They'd find some reason to arrest me. So yeah. I stay out.
Like Rick just said, they would bury you in court costs and papers. And it's absolutely true. I mean, I don't have the money to hire an attorney to fight this case indefinitely.
No.
If I did have the money, I totally would do it. But I don't.
Yep. I don't know, maybe one day. I spoke with Steven Sanzuri, and he's kind of the one that encouraged me this time to finally just let it out. And because before he's like, hey, let's just keep this. Let's keep it quiet. Don't say what you found. Keep it, you know. And now he's like, you know what? Put it out there. Maybe there's somebody who will listen, who will say, that's wrong. Hey, wait a second. And then that might motivate somebody else to either help us get to a point or where they'll jump on and then they can get it going in a new direction. But like I said, right now, I'm not even convinced it's even them on the floor. Or at the very least, I know it's not Kamel. And then that would explain why the body of Kamel was so much more damaged than the other two. The head, both hands gone. So there are no identifying factors for either one of them. And now it makes sense.
And when they cremated David and Rania, like almost immediately, the family didn't even sign the bodies out. They were just sent over there and cremated.
Yeah, who did that? They has to be signed by a family member. One of the family members has to sign off on cremation. But like you said, it was done awfully quick.
Yeah, and then they sent Kamel back to Texas to be buried. And Sidra's talking about doing the ritual washing of Kamel and stuff. And I'm just like, how did they even get some bodies across state line if she couldn't be embalmed? Because there's no against that.
Yeah, and you can't ship a body, unless they put this body in the deep freeze. And then maybe it didn't thaw, but I would think, but as it thaws, it decomposes a lot faster. I can't imagine, because as you saw the sloughing on the skin that the photo we saw anyway. And yeah, she can't wash any hands. There's only feet. There's no head. What ritual washing are they doing? So
I don't know. I mean, I'm going to be completely honest. I don't believe anything that Sidra ever says. So. There's so many things when you match up what she says in the police report to the actual facts. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't match up. I can't match up before they moved to the United States, but after that I can. And there's a lot of stuff that does not match up. So I've just learned to discount anything that she says.
Yeah. And Crypt Rick goes on to say, I miss Steven. It's been a while since we chatted. I need to bring him on the radio soon. Yeah, you do. You need to get him back. I would never have had bodies cremated just in case it got reopened. Exactly. I don't understand any of that. But if they know and they're hiding something, that's the one thing you'd want to do super fast so they couldn't dig the bodies out. So, Yeah. Again, now it's all starting to make some kind of weird sense to me. But again, we know David was an expert. We know David knew how to handle his weapons. He would never have left a bore patch in his gun ever. And we also know that there's no way for blood to get on the breech face or on the firing pin aperture. We know that there's no way for David's blood to get onto the magazine. So,
Because according to the ME and the autopsy report, he didn't have any cuts on him before he died.
correct.
So how did he get his blood inside of the gun?
So I would be interesting for those who do end up watching this, after it's posted, even now, all of you people who are watching, I really would love to hear your thoughts. Now that you've seen the autopsy photos, you've seen that the tattoos don't match. You've seen that, according to their reports, that there was a bore patch that they found in the gun that they don't ever mention anywhere else. It never makes it to the final report. And that they found blood-like substance on the breech face and on the firing pin aperture. What is your take on all of this? How do you guys see this going down? I would be super curious. Okay, I no idea what a breech face is. Okay, let me show you a photo. I do have a photo of that up here, actually, still up. Let me show it to you. Okay. Now, there it goes. It's a little slow on the uptake. This is actually, it's inside the gun. This is part of the gun as it's taken apart. This area right here, this flat area right here, is the breech face. The firing pin aperture would be on another part that would, look at me, I'm moving my hands like you can see me. That would be inside. I think it's what strikes the bullet as it goes through this area. But it's this place right in here that they found the blood-like substance. This is inside the gun. So when you're putting everything together, there's no way, no way to get blood on it once it's put together. Once that gun is reassembled, it doesn't get in there. When I called a gun shop, and I asked them exactly where is the breech face, and they said it's kind of by the chamber where the bullet loads in and stuff like that. And I said, so it's in a place where you can't like accidentally go in and touch it. And he's like, no, not at all.
Well, then I think you need to tell them the scenario of what you think happened. Because you never went into that.
Oh, okay. Okay, how I see this now with everything that I've shared with you guys, it's one of two things. The family was going into witness protection. That's what I couldn't think of. For whatever reason, they're going into witness protection. And when the call came that it was time for them to go, they were in the middle of things. Kamel doing dishes, breakfast or dinner, we don't know. David cleaning his gun. And, as he's cleaning the barrel, the knock came and they had to leave. And so then whoever came to stage and set the scene didn't know and just thought the parts were lying there. And when they got done damaging the David body, they still had blood on their hands when they picked up the magazine. And then whatever blood, it probably spattered and then transferred over to the breech face and then the aperture. And the person wasn't paying attention. Then when, they just put everything together. And now they're looking at a gun. And then, of course, the scene is now set. It's not them. It's some other bodies that are on that floor. Again, all identifying marks are gone. Tattoos don't match. We just saw that. The tattoos don't match. So if the tattoos don't match, It's not them. It's not them. If by some miracle they could, somehow prove, I'm sorry, they just can't somehow prove it is them on the floor. It's like Sophia was saying, then if these reports are true, the autopsy reports are true, we already know David didn't do it. Again, still the same scenario. David's cleaning his gun. Kamel is in the middle of doing dishes. Rania could have been at the table. We don't know. And they came in, surprised. David jumped up, then they killed the family, cut off hands, beat in faces, whatever the case may be, staged everything, put the gun together rather hastily, and then fired it a few times to get, ballistics. But either way, no matter how this is sliced, the evidence proves beyond a shadow of a doubt David didn't kill his family. And then, too, it makes me wonder if they were put into witness protection because when Sophie and I were going through the blacklight reports and through the journals and stuff like that, the time frame that they disappeared and they dropped off communication. David, it was earlier than Kamel, according to their cell phones. When you start looking cell phone history and everything else, it was like weeks, 3-4 weeks. That makes sense.
He dropped off the face of the earth before Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
So
now it makes sense. Some people say the only sighting that we have is the school did say that David and Kamel picked up Rania on the 19th of December. Did they? I don't know. Where's the proof of that? And then Brent, or the neighbor across the street, swears he saw David standing in the window on the 24th or the 26th. One of those days. Maybe it was the 26th of December. Swears he saw David standing in the window. But those are the only two supposed confirmed sightings of the family. That's it. Nobody else saw or talked to them. Yeah. Gun on the wrong side of the body is huge for me. For me, it's huge. Yep.
Absolutely.
But, so
there's a few things that Catherine and I are working on, but this pretty much, there are a couple other things that we're working on in regards to the case, but this is pretty much,
we're still working on the ballistics aspect of it because that doesn't even add up. Like everything else in the case, nothing adds up. So I think at this point I'll just keep repeating myself. But that's where we're at now. And I don't know. Do you guys think we should keep this up? I mean, if they're in protective custody, do we keep digging and finding all the other faults that are written within those reports, or do we just walk away? Or if this is really them on the floor, do we keep fighting for something that is clearly never going to go forward because we can't afford? None of us are, I think, independently wealthy where we can go take this to court ourselves. I would. I'm sorry?
I wish. I totally would do it if I was independently wealthy, but if only I bought those lotto tickets. Maybe I'd win and we could do this. But
right. And Rick says, I can see them in haste saying David is right-handed and tossing it on his left while looking down at him. Yeah, I mean, I've stated that so many times as, when I was an EMT. And even in these police reports, you clearly state where they say gun is on the right-hand side because it's their right. You're right, patient's left. And so, but the other officers did get it right. And that just goes to prove that. And if you're staging a scene, you're going to go, oh, right-handed. Okay, put it down. It's on his right. Without thinking, wait a minute, that's the left-hand side. Oops, wrong side. It would just be second nature. So, and is there anything else you want to add?
Not right now.
Okay. Yeah. Again, there's like nagging at the back of my head that I'm forgetting something. I found so much stuff that I just didn't share.
I just
But if
sent it to you. Because I remembered it in the middle of the show. But you can do a different show about it.
Yeah, we'll do another one when when we remember what it is we forgot. But other than that, unless you guys have any questions, we'll go ahead and shut this down.
Feel free to put it in a comment and we'll try to get to you as soon as possible. I do want to thank everybody who joined us tonight. Thank you, Jenny, Alita, Pauline, Crit, thank you for joining and all of your questions. It really meant a lot.
You're good. You remembered them all. Good job. Okay.
Well, I'm looking at everything right.
Okay. Yeah. So please, you guys, this is what we're trying to decide, Rick. We don't know. He says, are you done with this case or getting to that point? I mean, where else can you take it?
I mean, we could rehash certain things over and over and over, but I mean, I don't know. I'm not against doing videos in the future. I don't know what else to do.
Yeah, I mean, there's still so much more we could cover on the blood or lack thereof, the DNA or the lack thereof. The ballistics for sure. Oh my goodness, we could probably do an hour video on that alone. But it's like, after all of this, there's just no way David did this. And now we found the proof within their own, the evidence. So I don't know. I'm thinking, and that's why I'm really not doing it. Well, plus I was sick and a lot of stuff going on, but I don't know. I don't know what to do. So, any final words?
No, not really.
What were you going to say?
I guess, depending on the response from the viewers, that would also depend on what we decide to do. If you think that we should still continue digging and putting out videos, we're happy to do that for you all. That's what we're here for. We're here to answer questions. We're here to point out facts and try to help everybody understand this case. If you think that we've reached the point where we're just rehashing everything and being redundant, then, I'm not opposed to doing other things. Just don't know what else to do.
Yeah, it's just that, we have lost a lot of sleep over this case. And then when I found all these other, things, and then when I told Sophia, and then she started losing sleep because of it, I don't know what to do with all this stuff anymore. It's piled so high. We just can't find the bottom anymore. So I don't know. I have a feeling we're going to be doing a part 2. I think we'll remember what we forgot here pretty soon, but
I'm glad that we shared it with the folks. Now they know.
Yeah.
And now whoever's been watching will know that we know the truth.
Yep.
And
there you go, AVPD. Yep. So there you go. It's in your reports. And why didn't they include this and any of the information? All the final official reports do not mention the blood found inside of the gun on the breech face. Again, on the breech face and on the firing pin aperture, doesn't mention it anywhere. They don't mention the bore patch anywhere. And they don't mention the anomalies with the blood anywhere. They nothing. They have only what suits to build the purpose of the narrative, and that's it.
Absolutely.
And to me, that's huge. Why hide that? If this truly were a real murder case, why hide that? Oh, hi, no chance. Oh my goodness, you missed it. We're done, dude. You
You'll
have
have
to
to watch
see
the
what we
video.
found. You and I decided to tell everybody about the bore patch, about the blood on the breech face and the blood on the ovarian pin aperture and about the tattoos, how the tattoos don't match on the bodies versus what the tattoos were prior to death. So yeah, go back and watch the video. I think you will have a lot to write to me about.
Absolutely.
So
Okay. Well,
I guess we're done. I'm really sorry. Wish okay, wait. No chance says, "Oh man, I'm gonna have to watch this." Yeah. Yeah, you do. You do. And I'm really sorry you caught us at the end. It would have been great to hear your voice and hear your voice and hear what you have to say during this. That's not matching. Whoa, yes, does not match.
that's a big
Um
deal. That is the big deal.
So, yep. For those of you who don't know, No Chance has they've been great. We've been emailing quite a bit, and we've had a lot to say about a lot of stuff. But definitely watch this No Chance because I really want to hear what you have to say after this. This will be good. So, okay, I guess again, I'm sorry you caught us at the very, very end, but we're going to go ahead and shut this down. And thank you, everybody who joined. And oh, good. I'll hold you to that. Thanks for joining, though, No Chance. And thank you, everybody else. And we will see you next time.
Thank you very much, everybody. Have a great night.